understand from you, what are your expectations from this session? We are going to spend 90 odd minutes. I would like to understand what are your expectations from this 90-minute which we are going to all of us spend together. Maybe you can just tell, and we'll see how we can cover all of this. And we'll have a question and answer session at towards the end. But if you can help us to understand what are your expectations from this session.
Sandeep, first of all, would like to know how this transferable skill, how will you plot it, and how the target companies, what is their pain points and what is our strength? Can we match those pain points with our strength? How to do that?
Okay.
And what are the key metrics you should analyze and get into that?
So identifying target companies and how do you do that is what you're saying, right?
Correct.
So that will cover. Yes.
So that's the most important thing.
Yeah, sure. Anything beyond I would like others also to contribute.
Yeah, Sandeep Subrata here. So I would like to understand that which are the field where, from a senior leadership perspective, which are the field where the future opportunities are going to come, because the job dynamics, the talent dynamics is changing. So which are the areas where you see a potential or a high growth potential from a senior leadership perspective?
Yeah, so good. So future trends, possibilities, considering where you are, and so how do you get ready for future and build your profile from that angle? Subrata.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Yeah, we are going to cover that. I think this maybe we'll spend this point, while we have said we'll cover, but we'll now slightly spend more time.
And also one more thing is also some tips and suggestions in terms of improving on the personal brand.
Okay. So I think personal brand, Subrata, is altogether different thing, and we will have to focus on this topic of today. So that otherwise there are a lot many areas, right? I mean, we will not be able to do justice. 90 minutes is a very difficult time. A short time. 90 minutes to cover everything is difficult.
Yes.
Anybody else who would like to share their expectations from this? So good. I think let us start. I'll tell you the reason why we have started high potential career planning. I'll just spend 1 or 2 minutes on that. Is with an objective that we have seen that over the years of more than 2 decades, what I've seen is the way people plan their careers and take their career decisions. There a lot can be improved, and many more people can realize their potential in much more better way. They can be more commercially successful and happy. First happy and then commercially successful if they do things in a certain way. And since we have seen that, we have started this series with an objective that we really truly are able to help people do things in a better way, have a better approach, and have better career success for them and happiness for them also. So with that as a philosophy, we have started high potential career planning. And around that, then we have built a different kind of products and different kind of approaches. Ideas in true sense add value to life of people. In true sense, build lifelong relationships and create happiness for all the stakeholders. If it is happiness for individuals, happiness for organizations, then it's a win-win situation. I see many professionals in different phases of their life, not in the best of the space they should be, and hence it leads to a lot of upheaval for individual himself, then for family and for the organization as well. So idea is to create a very balanced, happy and successful life for individual, and good thing for corporates also. So that's the philosophy of starting behind high potential career planning. Hi Anindya. So we can Akshay, you can put the slide, and first slide we can go through. Akshay, yes, yeah. Akshay is sharing the screen. The way we will have the structure of the discussion is, first I'll take you through what we have to say. You already have expressed your expectations from the webinar. Akshay will have to make it full screen. And towards the end, we'll open it for Q&A also. Depending on the time, we have 90-95 minutes time till 11:30, 11:40, and within that time we'll see how much questions we can take. So focus, I'll go to the first slide. Focus is, as I said, for you people to identify, how do you identify right target sectors, target companies. And the situation can be wherein there's some downsizing, restructuring which has happened in the sector, and as a result you have lost a job. Not necessarily because downsizing people lose job, it can be for various, even for individual's performance reason. Yeah, the chemistry, the gentleman went and joined the company, but the organization feels there's a cultural fit. Yeah, you yourself, individual also feels, yeah, I'm not in the right place, and then he leaves his job. So there's one set of individuals who have already lost the job, are not in job, and there's other set of individuals who are working already. They are in a good company. They feel I can build my career there in this company also. That is another set. The third set can be people who are working in corporates but are not happy in the company and hence wants to transition. So we'll ideally try and cover all the three areas because more or less principles will remain same. Yeah. We can put to the second slide. Now let us understand how are currently all of you approaching this thing. Now each individual is having his own lens of how to go about finding a right job, and he's using his own lens and framework. At times he's going out and reaching out to friends. You will have friends, your peers, your seniors. At times I have seen people trying to go and connect with HR fraternity in their organization. Yeah, you will have personal relationship with relevant people you feel who can give you some input as to how should you go about this aspect of identifying a right role and a right company for yourself. What I believe is while people are trying to do on their own and use different approaches and different means, good number of times it's a very suboptimal way. Very, very few people do it in a holistic way, and that percentage will be less than 1-2%, let me tell you. Like, for example, reason for being unhappy in the organization can be, I got a less increment. I'm not getting, my learning is stopped. Yeah, within 4 years, one of you is getting promoted. And in this situation, then people who are not getting promoted, they start behaving differently. They feel now my career is not going to take shape here. And then they start immediately taking action. Now I have to move out. They will not look at it into perspective saying organization has taken a decision. But is there any way where I can navigate my career within the organization to some other roles, some other project, wherein maybe from a regional sales head, I have not become a national sales head, but can I move from a sales role to maybe demand planning and a supply chain role? Yeah, can I take some projects in marketing? So learning within the organization also can be done not necessarily with a hierarchical growth, but by doing cross-functional projects, by looking at harnessing your learning in other functions. Because while somebody has got promoted and elevated organization, because organization also has limitations. Organization only can elevate one person after a certain point. So for an individual, then he has to understand how do I navigate and expand my learning and see how can I present to the organization that I am really keen to learn, stay and grow my career in the organization. Because I'm assuming here the organization is also very keen to have good people who show that spirit of growing and wanting to grow. And these kind of discussions can be done in advance. In the sense, not necessarily one has to do when the situation arises, one of you is getting promoted. But you know that in future, above middle management and above, only few people can get promoted. So having very closely discussions with HR people, understanding the organization dynamics within the organization, you know there are different people who can influence different decisions. And when it comes to career decisions, you have to understand who are the people who will matter if I have to grow in the organization. That you have to understand well in advance, not in last 6 months or last 1 year. So when you are joining your organization, it is very, very important to understand the organization dynamics. And while you understand the organization dynamics, you also have to ensure that your performance is at peak. Performance definitely is required, But along with performance, promotions happen based on perceptions. So one has to understand, how do I build right perception of myself with people who matter within the organization, and that has to be done well in advance. Not, in fact, when you move into the new role within the organization, you have to start looking at that, understanding the organization dynamics, and building right perceptions with right people alongside your performance. So if you are having good performance, if you have good perception about yourself in the organization with right people, then obviously you will get considered. Now, I have seen people don't invest that kind of time, yet people don't look at it from that lens. Good number of time, people expect people to take notice of you, and as I said, 1-2% people make all the effort. Now, within the organizations, different organizations have different culture, different organizations have culture, different ethos. So one needs to understand culture of the organization, ethos of the organization, key people in the organization who are going to influence the decisions. If you do that in right manner, and if you feel this is the right organization, then you will be able to look at that. At the same time, the individual also has to understand, if I have reached the organization, because people, when they are reaching the organization, their understanding of organization is very, very superficial. When they are looking for a job, they at best will go to website, they'll understand what is available in the public domain, they will speak to 1 or 2 people. When individual is changing the job, when he is joining the organization, the research which they do is very, very limited. It's extremely important to understand, go deeper, talk to few people who have left that organization, talk to some people who have reported to the would-be boss. You need to understand the organization culture and ethos in much more deeper level, so that after reaching the organization, you can align for your growth in that organization. Good number of times, I personally feel people also after joining realize this is not the best place, but then it's too late, right? Now, so this is the set of, we were talking about how people, when they are in the organization, they have not left the job, how they approach, right? Now there's another bucket which we said, people who have lost their jobs, and how do they approach. Now, when you have lost job, you are in a hurry, and you most of the times you know it. I have also seen people don't look at the realities in life well in advance. Like, for example, in an organization which you have joined is a startup, and you know funding is an issue. Yeah, after joining, you realize that the business model of the organization itself is such that it is not sustainable. Sometime or other, it is going to break through or fall. At middle management and senior management, I think you should be, before joining, you don't know certain things, but after joining in 3-4 months, you can make out, is this the organization going to be long-term sustainable? Is the business model right? Is the leadership right? And if you are able to make a judgment that this organization, yes, have a right business model, right now, in next 2-3 years, they might struggle, but they will come out. Is the leadership right? Is the leadership good enough to understand, sensitive enough to pivot, re-pivot, and look at the model? Are the investors in the organization looking at patiently? Yeah, they are wanting to show the top line and bottom line at any cost. The value system, customer focus is not there. Focus is only to look at top line. Some of those things, if you analyze after joining organization, then you don't have to wait till the last point wherein the organization is downsizing, restructuring, and you are losing a job. So it is very, very important when you join the organization, first 3-6 months, you have to really deep dive with the organization, and don't wait for the last moment. Having said that, so when people are losing jobs, it is very, very important for people to be proactive, think 6, 12 months, 18 months ahead, and understand, is this organization right for me? If it is not right, I better be proactive. Now, that approach really helps you. But having said that, if you have already lost job, now when you have lost job, in the first place, it is a lot of emotional upheaval which an individual goes through. One is in a stage wherein it is not best of his health and best of his emotional well-being and physical well-being and mental well-being. Having said that, while it's a stage which is not a best space to be in, individual needs to be very confident and understanding himself, saying that if I have spent 20 years of my career and my life, I will find a job. That confidence level he has to pump himself and then approach. But when people are approaching, what they do, as I said, they'll reach out to friends, good number of times I have seen people are not very transparent with their own friends. People don't have very good solid friends where they can go and open their heart saying, I have lost job, can you help? So I think people, when job loss is a fact of life in future, people have to approach it with very bold face and confidence, because if somebody is reached a certain level in a career, the individual is having a lot of strengths. Now he then has to pivot. It is like pivoting your career. You should look at job loss as an opportunity to pivot your career and approach it in a holistic way, and not get perturbed, not get hassled, but get a right strategy in place. I see people not having strategy in place. They just run around and they just want to land up in a job. Idea is not to land up in a job. If you have lost a job, you again land up in a job where you're not happy. Again, you're in the same itself. I would rather look at it from a perspective, this is an opportunity for me to take the stock of the situation and pivot my career in a manner that I'll be able to do well. For professionals, 90% of your career gains come in last 10 years. And if you're a middle management professional with 15-20 years of experience, if you have come across this situation, it is better to take stock of the situation. Akshay, you can go to the next slide. So it's extremely important for an individual to know yourself, and knowing yourself is extremely crucial, because then in last 10-15 years you can maximize your career gains and be happy. Whatever you were when you started your career, you are a different person when you are 15-20 years experience at the stage and life where you are. You have family, you have children, your wife, your parents. They are at different stages in life. So it is extremely important and crucial for an individual to know himself. And I'm telling you, let me tell you, when I ask people, what is your purpose in life? Very rarely people are able to really put it in a very crisp way. There's a big question mark on their face when you ask, what is your purpose in life? So when I say you should know yourself, you should really understand yourself. Where are you? Emotionally, physically, mentally. Because the first most critical pillar for you to be really successful and happy is you yourself. If you yourself are not in the best shape and best place, you will not be able to be happy, you will not be able to maximize your commercial success. So this pillar has to be analyzed, understood in a much more deeper level, and one has to spend more deeper time, not just 15-20 minutes you sit and understand yourself. This requires very, very deep level of thinking. One should spend 2-3 days at least to understand, and then start scribbling notes. And there you have to be on your own and not you are doing along with family. It has to be a space, at least 1 or 2 days, a space where you're undisturbed, you're not disturbed from anybody, but you are with your own self and you're scribbling notes. Only then you will be able to really distill and filter what you are, where are you emotionally, where are you physically, where are you mentally. It requires a deep exercise. So that's the first pillar. The second pillar is then your immediate family, your children, your parents, your wife. While you are as an individual, all these other people are also individuals, and they're your immediate very close to heart people. It's very important for you to understand where are they in their life stage, their emotional well-being, their physical well-being, their mental well-being. Let us be on that. Go to the next slide. So understanding family well-being, life stage which they are. Kids are in 10th class. Can you take up a job which is in different city and you become a Monday to Friday father, and child is in 10th class? While you will look at your career, you will get a job, but after getting a job, then your child, you're not with the child when he's or she is in a crucial part of his life. Your parents are aged. Do you want to take up a job which is in a different city where you are asking your parents to again approve? Your wife is working. Yes, she's built already a network in a geography. So it is extremely important to take family also into consideration if you really have to take a right decision. Your decision cannot be only right for you. Yeah, it helps you to get a job, but it is It helps you to get your job. It's not in the right company. It is not good for your family. So the second important pillar for you to be really happy and successful is your family. Taking them into consideration is extremely important, because all this what you're doing is for whom? For yourself and for your family, right? You might get a job, you might get a high paying job, but are you really taking care of yourself and your family? That is extremely crucial, and I don't see most of the people taking all this into consideration. And when you are clear, when you know what is my purpose in life, when you know where is my mental emotional well-being, when you know where is your family and what are family priorities, these are very, very crucial things in terms of when you have to introspect and reflect when it comes to your career. Or else you are just taking transactional decisions and then you're battling with those transactional decisions. You're taking transactional decisions for yourself, for your family, for the organization, and then it manifests in a certain way. As a result, what I believe is each one of us is capable. Each one of us is capable. But if we have to be really happy and successful and maximize our potential, all these things play a very, very important role. And hence, if somebody has lost a job, he should actually look at this and say, let me look at this as an opportunity and not a problem. And this is an opportunity for me to pivot and re-pivot and get all things in place. And I might take 3 months, I might take 6 months, but I'll land up in a line job. It might take a year also, let me tell you. But I'll land up in a job without compromising all my aspects. Because when I land up there, then there's next 15, 20 years. And today people are not retiring at 60. Let me tell you, people can go up to 75, 80 as long as they're on the foot. They can do wonderful job. And I've seen people post-retirement, if they are not doing anything, their health actually starts deteriorating. Even their family equations start getting disturbed. Because by that time, kids are educated, they are settled down. Your wife is also at a certain stage of life. If you are at home, you are not doing anything for your own self, the health starts deteriorating. Because at a stage, you want some meaningful engagement and meaningful motivations every day to go out and enjoy it. I've seen people say, I'll retire and I'll just go vacationing, I'll do this, I'll do that. If you have a proper plan, if you have thought through, yes, you can do that. But if you don't have a plan and if you have not thought through, I have seen people after 6 months, 1 year, their equations within the home start emanating in very different, because you are out of home for 12, 14 hours, suddenly you're at home. People are not used to it. Your kids, if parents and kids are staying together, then your emotional engagements which are coming from the external world are not there, and then you start maybe interfering. You start handling yourself in not the best optimal way. So knowing that your life expectancy is high, one needs to plan in advance, and hence your purpose of life, your emotional well-being, mental well-being, that deep thinking is required. Use this as an opportunity to pivot and start behaving like a young MBA, a young graduate who have just passed out, and now this is an opportunity for me to pivot. At the same time, world has changed so much in 20-30 years, right? In 20-30 years, if the world has changed, trends are going to be changing, technology is changing, so many things, so many jobs are not going to be relevant in future. So let me take and use this opportunity to understand where I am, let me understand where the world is likely to go, and take a wiser decision which will allow me to be happy. Your career maybe in first 20 years have not gone in a certain way. But if you're a capable guy, you can still pivot and report and saying, let me still ambitiously look at becoming a business head or CEO, and whatever level I want to, I will maximize my career. Because I'll just give you an example. For example, if an engineer or an MBA has started his career at a 2 lakh or 6 lakh salary after his engineering or MBA, and the person is having 20 years of career experience, and in 20 years his salary is, say, maybe engineer is at 1 crore and an MBA is at a 2 crore package, hypothetically. So if somebody MBA who's at a 6 lakh package and is at a 2 crore package in 20 years, his cumulative 20-year career earning will be 7-8 crores, and maybe 10-11 crores. For an engineer, if he has started at 2 lakhs and he is at 1 crore, maybe his career earning is at 3.5, yeah, maybe 4 crores. But if somebody is at a package of 1 crore or 2 crore and is having still 10-11 years to go, then if he continues to grow at a 10-12% CAGR, 2 crore person can earn 40-50 crores. 1 crore person can earn 15 to 20 crores. If provided he gets into right organizations, provided he knows where he's going, he's happy. Because at that stage, if you take a wrong career decision, you are not happy, the role is not right, there is no future career path, then you will reach there, but you will not last long. And if you don't last long, then after 40, 45, if you have 1 or 2 career changes which are very fast, then your CV, you have done enough damage, and for you to recoup it becomes almost, I'm not saying impossible, but it becomes difficult. So in finding right job, even if it's taking 1 year, 6 months, look at it as an investment. I am looking at it from a perspective that I am to earn 40, 50 crores, get 20 crores in next 10, 11 years. So, and if you are planning beyond that, I'm telling you, I can see people contributing, being at the same commercial level post-retirement also. You can think of getting extended career of 5, 10 years and create a very large commercial value for yourself. So it requires a proper thinking. Akshay, you can go to the next slide. And knowing yourself, as I said, I did cover that. Understanding your own value systems is very, very important, because if you don't understand your own value system and actually put it on a paper as to what cultures I'll do well, what cultures I'll not do well, what are things which I'll not compromise. For example, if there's an organization which is having a problem in compliance, now some people are comfortable with that, some people are not comfortable with that. But businesses, let me tell you, MNCs are Indian organizations also. There are organizations who at times compromise on compliance. There are organizations who do it in a very beautiful way, wherein they do what is right on compliance. For example, MNCs are very good at marketing, but not necessarily their products are of best quality. Some of the Indian organizations I have seen, their product quality is way better than MNCs, but they are not good at marketing. So each organization will have a value system on a business, on a customer focus. Like for example, some organizations will not compromise on customer integrity. When I say customer integrity, they will always do what is right for customer. Some organizations will relabel the food product, even if it has expired, and put it in the market. So that is right for commercial entity of organization, but there's a compromise on customer integrity. So it is very important for all of you to understand what is my value system. And if I understand what my value system is, then I'll decide what is right for me, what is not right for me. What is my aspiration? What is that I want to achieve in life? And I am telling you, in a structured way, if people are guided, what they can achieve in life can be way better than what they can think. But it is important to understand your aspirations. If somebody is hand-holding you, saying that this is what is possible, it is an eye-opener for them. But that what is possible might require patience. It might take 6 months or 9 months or 1 year to take a job. Whereas based on what your understanding is, you might land up in a job in 3 months or 1 month, but you are not in a space where you should be. So understanding yourself will require understanding your values, aspirations, your patience level, your perseverance. All those things are knowing yourself. Actually, you can go to, and similarly for knowing your family members. When I'm saying all those principles, then has to be understood for yourself, for your family. All those things have to be understood. Yeah. So this we have discussed. We can go to the next slide. When you're taking stock of your own situation, it is important to understand what is my skill set. Where am I? What is my pedigree? What is my IQ level? What over a period of time, what is the knowledge I have gained? What is the knowledge inventory I have gained? It is extremely important. And hence I tell, even if you have lost job, your skill set will be important and it will be required somewhere. So you should not get into a zone which is pessimistic and take up anything which comes your way. That doesn't help. Use this as an opportunity to pivot. So if you have to pivot, you have to understand where am I, where is my knowledge inventory as of now. You have to also understand where is the market moving. Maybe my skill set which was there is dated and market trends are very different, and I need to really acquire some marketing, some skills which will keep me relevant till 75 years or 60 years or whatever age I want to work. Use this as an opportunity, because then you will understand, take the stock of the situation. Where is my knowledge inventory? Where am I currently? What are the gaps in my profile? For example, you have been a sales guy all throughout. If you feel if I have to become a business head and a CEO, maybe marketing input is required from me. So then maybe I'll take some marketing courses. Maybe I'll work with some startups on projects with marketing for 1 year or 2 years, and I'll harness that skill. That 1-2 years my earning will drop down substantially. But if I acquire that skill after that 2 years of experience, I'll go as a business head in an organization where I can last long. So it's extremely important for you to take your knowledge inventory status, because that knowledge inventory will decide what kind of roles you can land, what kind of package you can get. That is extremely important. So building your profile and pivoting based on where the market is going, based on where you want to go, and building your profile experience inventory, even if it is taking 3 months, 6 months, doing some additional courses, you're doing some projects along with, because then you are not working and you can do projects in 4-5 companies. See, one is to get marketing experience in one company, but if you get marketing projects in 4 companies, your learning can be accelerated, right? Those projects will not be, you'll have to interact with junior level people. Some people are not happy interacting with junior level people. But for your career, if it is important, then you have to do those projects. For example, a sales guy, I've seen many times after having 20 years experience, for a sales guy to go as a brand manager, assistant brand manager becomes a huge issue. But if he doesn't acquire that skill, he can't become a CEO. But in this situation, you can work with 4 companies at junior level and get understanding and insights of 4 categories. So by doing that, you have accelerated your learning and actually added to your knowledge inventory immensely. So I think because that knowledge and experience will decide where you can go. Yeah. So taking that stock is very, very important. You can go to the next slide. Then after this introspection of yourself, your family, taking stock of the knowledge, where you are, it is extremely important where am I and where do I want to go? What are my financial goals? Do I want to earn 40-50 crores? Do I want to earn till 60? Do I want to earn work till 75-80? That and this clarity will not be 100%, but you need to think, how do I want to take my rest of life ahead? Considering my family, considering myself, considering my knowledge inventory, how do I plan? I have seen people putting enough and more time. Don't go, let us be here, right? It is extremely important. This piece is extremely, extremely important. You people, all professionals, put enough and more time when they are working on a business plan, budget, marketing plan, if you have to reduce cost, how do you reduce cost in a particular role? And in each of your roles, you spend more and enough time on the task which you are doing. But when it is coming to your own career and your own life, people are hardly spending any time, which is very, very sad. They have some broad understanding, and based on that broad understanding, then they try and take calls. And that broad understanding, it's not 360-degree view. It is maybe people at best take 10, 15, 20 degrees view, and that lens. Imagine if you are having a telescope which can help you to get a 360-degree view versus only 20-degree view, and how decisions you will take. What kind of impact it can have a decision based on 20-degree view versus a 360-degree view. So it's extremely important to do all this exercise, because with that, you will have a holistic approach. And it is extremely important to put time, effort and energy around this. As I said, introspection, reflection, put 2 days. After doing this 2, 3, 4, 5 days, when you have to do your career plan, put 3-4 days there. It is worth investing that time. When you are doing studies, you are actually investing your time, right? Because ultimately, what you think is where you will land. What plan you prepare based on what you're thinking is where you will land. And when you're preparing a plan, I don't have to tell you, if you put a plan, how can it help you? But put that plan for yourself. And then you will be able to do justice for yourself. And then you will be able to maximize happiness and commercial value for yourself. So it's extremely important to put that 2-3-4 days time. Because without that, it is not going to emerge. Without that, it's just not going to emerge. It will be just superficial plan based on maybe instead of 20 degrees, 40 degrees view you have. So having a very good career plan is extremely important. And for you to have an extremely good career plan, the initial homework all the areas which I mentioned is extremely important. And in career plan, when you are having a career plan, important aspects are what? Like, what is that I want to do in life? What are my financial goals? That will also emerge from where I am currently, where am I financially, where my family is currently. So putting financial goals, putting happiness goals, because it's not only having lots of money with you, but it's also important for you to be happy. So just being success is not important. Being successful is, I personally feel, is doesn't take people anywhere. I've seen so many successful. They have net worth. Professionals, let me tell you, I have seen professionals who have net worth of 50 crores, 100 crores, 200 crores, but on happiness, they are nowhere. So do you want to be there? Yeah, do you want to be successful and happy is crucial. For example, when people join startups, they earn good stock options. They earn commercial wealth, financial wealth, but they really happy? Now, is a startup for you? Because it requires a certain approach and a mindset to be in startup and to be successful in startup. And if you understand yourself, if you are going to be happy in that space, then you can definitely go. Because, and one has to take into consideration my family. Startups require 14-15 hours of work. It requires taking financial stress. If you are good for that, you should go ahead. If your family will be open and support that, you can go ahead and do that. But if you know yourself, if you know that current financial situation doesn't allow you that, if you know that I can't put 14-15 hours, then, and as a result, Akshay, let us be on this slide, yeah. So you have to understand, is startup for me? It can help you to gain wealth fast, but is it for me? And as a result, I see 95% of people who join startups end up being unhappy. So I think financial goals, slow, sustainable, long-term is one approach. One is in 5-10 years. So one has to understand within financial goals how you want to reach there. And alongside, you have to understand, where will I do well, where will I not do well, what is priority for me, family, children, all those things, because all those will lead to happiness. So that pace will be determined by you as a person, you as a family, and what are you comfortable with. So, but then putting this plan, career plan, and financial goals and happiness is extremely important. Yeah. Go to the next slide. Now, understanding the market, sectors, and fitment. If you understand and do the homework properly, then comes, if this is where I am, this is what my skill set is, this is the time frame which I want the job in, then how do I go about it? Based on my financial goals, happiness goals. Then one has to understand the market. Again, here individuals have a very limited view on what is possible with their experience and what is possible with their skill set. People try and limit themselves in the sectors which they have worked. People try and only look at organizations where they can be successful. Today, market is changing. People are happy to take people from different sectors. So understanding which sectors can I be looked at, which sectors I cannot be looked at, which are the sectors which will prefer my kind of experience. Otherwise, you will bang your head in sectors which will not prefer you. For example, you are in a sector, you have experience in a particular sector, but you have changed last 2-3 jobs very frequently. Now, if you try to stick to that sector only where you have experience, most of the times companies will not shortlist your profile because you have changed too many jobs too fast. But then you say, yeah, I have experience in this sector, which are the upcoming new sectors where my experience will be valued and they will welcome me with open arms. There, then positioning yourself and getting a job in that sector will be much easier versus your profile, because of certain changes, will be looked at in a certain way. So understanding the market, where I will fit, where my experience set will be valued, and where will I be welcomed with open arms is extremely important. More so when you have launched job, because I think when you have launched job, it's important that you, depending on, as I said, depending on how much time frame you want, where and how you can land up in that job is very important. So one can look at different sectors also. For example, if somebody is in FMCG or consumer durable marketing, and that marketing skills or sales skills can be looked at across different sectors. No? So somebody is, for example, in B2B marketing, or whichever sector he or she is, that skill actually can be looked at in different sectors. And with technology, what is happening is there are a lot of new sectors which are coming. And you have to then foresee him that in this sector will my skill sets be applicable. Yeah, in traditional sectors, which sectors will be open for me? If there's a company, I have good FMCG experience, good B2B or consumer durable experience in good large organization. But maybe in large organization now will not look at it. But there's an upcoming very nice promoter owner who's building business in that segment and space. He will not look at my frequent job changes, but he will look at the experience which I want. If there's a cultural fit and value match with that promoter, then I can build that business and I can build value for myself. If I want to build a long-term business in 10 years, is the promoter having that patience? And if their value system and your value system is matching, if you're doing enough research, then you land up in that company and create value for the organization and create value for yourself. We have placed some people in some organizations where they get 1% or 1.5% of equity. And the kind of, along with, because if the business is 100 crores and if the middle management and leadership person is coming and making it to 500 crores, business has grown, promoter has benefited, promoter will be very happy to share 1-2%. Now 500 crore ka business ka valuation 4x, 5x hota hai. You are getting 1 or 2% of 2,000 or 2,500 crores. But identifying that right organization and entrepreneur with value system is important for you to do that. So identifying different sectors, understanding different fitments. You, for all you might know, you might say, no, I can't work in small organizations, I'll have to work in large organizations. Then you have to be open to understand if that is what I am, then how will my career take shape? All those nuances needs to be understood in depth, in detail as much as possible. So it's extremely important to understand sectors, markets, trends. Based on that, then, actually you can go to the next slide. So based on this, then you will arrive at list of target companies. If this is what I am, this is where my family is, this is my knowledge inventory, this is the patience time I have. These are the sectors you will understanding. These are the sectors and companies which will value me. Then based on that, you actually prepare a list of target companies in each sector. Before that, you'll also do research about these sectors and companies and understand the cultural fitment. Because after a certain time, middle management and senior management, let me tell you, most important is the cultural fitment. Capability with 15-20 years of experience, you already have. Even if you don't have, it will not take more than 3-6 months for you to learn that organization, sector, or business. But if you know the business, if you can deliver for the business, but if the cultural fitment is not there, if the value match is not, you will feel fish out of water. You will not realize immediately, but after 1-2 years you will realize. If the organization doesn't believe in development of people, if the organization doesn't believe in career growth of people, if the organization doesn't believe in sharing wealth with people, there are different aspects which you have to be very, very clear as to what I believe will help me and what the organization is. And hence, cultural fitment is more important. The weightage people should give should be more, substantially more than on cultural fitment. Even if, for example, somebody has to take a salary cut of 20 lakhs, and if there's 100% cultural fitment and match, the individual should still take that decision, because that while 20 lakhs shortfall is there, I'm telling you, we are taking a person to this coaching and mentoring program. The person was at a 1.8 crore package. The person has left last 2-3 jobs consecutively, 6 months, 1 year, because very much, and the person had an issue. Now we are helping the person to get into a job where the value match is 100%. So we are telling that individual, don't worry about package. If you really join the organization is very focused on customer centricity. There are no compromise on value systems and ethics. They want to build a business which is sustainable long term. One can see a career path in that organization. We are saying, even if you're taking 20-30 lakhs beating, if you prove yourself and if you're going to add value, this organization can help you to build manifold wealth for yourself in long run. So that kind of understanding and conviction one is need to have, and that kind of detailing has to be done. If you are joining a promoter-led organization, you should actually ask him to have a coffee meeting at his home, because what the person presents him in an interview situation is very different. And when you go to office, you get a smell of a place. But when you go to his home, you will get to understand how the person is treating his security person. How is he treating his family members? Now these insights are very, very important. And then you have to take right decisions. Cultural fitment, values, growth potential, these are extremely, extremely important things in life. Because you might get a job, but if you're not there, then again you're in the vicious circle. You leave a job, you find another job, and the cycle continues. And so these things are extremely important, and one needs to deep dive, get into as much detail as much as possible, and do things in a certain way. So arriving at target sectors, target companies, it's a very detailed exercise. It's a very serious exercise, as serious as understanding yourself, understanding your family, putting your career plan, financial goals, and then arriving at this. It will require good amount of homework, good amount of time and effort, but that will give you much more long-term results. Yeah, Akshay, you can go to the next slide. Now, once you have arrived at, you have defined all this, how does one really reach out to them? Because I have seen many people limit themselves when they are on job hunt. They'll go to executive search firms, they'll go to their friends, they'll go to their network. That's it. Beyond that, they don't go. And obviously, that's not even 1% of the possibility which you are trying to address. And for you to get one job, you need only one company and one road. I see people when they lose jobs, every day they will apply in 20-30 places. They'll try and connect with people. They'll send invites on LinkedIn. At leadership level, senior level, it doesn't yield any results. And let me tell you, when you apply on Naukri, for example, even if you apply every day 10 places or 20 places, 99.9% cases, people don't even look at your resume. When, for example, executive search companies are putting their requirements on job portals, they get few hundred applications, and at best, from that few hundred, 2 or 3 people are only relevant. So when the executive search people, when they get profiles, there's some junior guy who's looking at your profiles, and that junior guy is given strict instructions. We want to have someone from this institute, so many years experience, only so many jobs, no fast movement of jobs, and only who has worked in these companies. That is the framework which they use. Now imagine when people are applying, they feel, हाँ यार यहाँ पे भी हो सकता है. There's no fitment, but यहाँ पे भी हो सकता है, वो approach होता है when you are desperate. And then you apply in so many places and you don't get response from anybody. That leads to frustration. That leads to you being further pushed down emotionally. So the way people are approaching the job market is in a very, very suboptimal way. As a result, leads to a lot of emotional trauma, emotional upheaval, especially when you have lost job. Because there's so much of pressure, so many things are happening in your mind. But if you work in the wrong direction, obviously results, you will only get frustration. So that happens when you put on Naukri. When people go to LinkedIn, they desperately try and send invites. They look at LinkedIn, what are the jobs? They'll send an invite to HR professional. They'll send an invite to a person who is CEO there. Now these people, when they accept your invite, sending you a CV, saying I'm looking for a job, it's clearly a desperate situation. And when an organization is wanting to hire a person, someone who is very seemingly desperate, they don't want. Even somebody has lost job is fine, but is very confident, very balanced and handling it. For example, if you see a job on LinkedIn which is very relevant, then you research that organization, study that organization. It is from one of your target companies. Understand what is happening in competition, understand what is happening in the company, go and visit few outlets, look at what is happening in channel, prepare a nice 2-3 page note on, because that's anyways your target company and target organization. And then share with them, either a promoter or a CEO, saying, well, I just thought of sharing with you this and I thought of giving you outside-in perspective while I'm on a break currently. I mean, this is of my interest, and I thought I'll just share it. If you write to 10 organizations, at least 5 people will respond, because at that level, people are also very keen to have external reviews. Now, when you get that, when 5 people respond, use that as an opportunity to say, would love to have a coffee with you and learn from each other and share our views. If you uptake this approach, it will lead a very different impact versus you just getting a LinkedIn invite, sending your CV. When you go for that meeting 1.5 2 hours, you actually in true sense get to the depth of the company and learn from them. By that, you're also understanding whether this is the company for me or not. And when you're taking a lot of interest and asking right questions, you're also creating an impression with the other person. You're also getting to learn. And then you leave a lasting impact. After that meeting, you can decide whether this is the company for me or not. If you feel the person is right and the company is for me, build that contact and nurture that contact for next 25, 30 years. When you are building a strategy, you can use him as a bouncing board and vice versa. And in future, whenever there's an opportunity, he'll remember you. Without you asking for a job, he'll call you and Raju, are you interested? Because this is something which is coming to us. Do you think it is right for you? Can you take up something like this? So how do you create that impression for yourself is very, very important. After identifying target companies and target role. So the approach has to be much more deep-rooted, much more long-term, much more holistic, with a lot of research and with an objective of giving them also feeling that you're a solid leader, you're not a desperate person. For example, in 3 months, you can meet 3 people like this versus applying to maybe a few hundred people. Applying to these three places in this manner, chances of getting results is much better. Because as I said, ultimately you require one job. And chances of you taking a right career decision is much more better. So, yeah, Akshay, you can go to the next slide. Yeah, I think that was the last one. I'll be happy to take questions. We have enough time to questions. So, as many questions you have. While there's a lot which I can share with you guys, but I mean, every time, obviously, I'm also trying to fit in as much as possible. Happy to take questions. You can either put it on chat box and Akshay can then put those questions to me. Yeah, each one of you wanting to put those questions, happy to take the questions.
Yeah, Sandeep, I think it was really a very crisp and beautifully crafted session. Thanks for sharing your insights. So you touched upon a very important point that cultural fitment, especially in mid management and senior level roles, is very important, and that's how you can ensure that you're playing a long term stint in an organization. So now, culture, identifying a company's culture. At least I have always found it very tricky and very difficult, because be it listed company, be it startup companies, how to identify the true culture of an organization? Because a lot of time we'll feel very large MNC, very solid processes, but people in those companies don't really follow the processes. So there is an issue in terms of what culture is on the web page, on the social media, versus what's the reality.
Absolutely.
So, on that.
Absolutely, Smrita. See, companies will put on social media, website, and on whatever is in public domain is packaging, no?
Yes.
It's marketing, right?
Yes.
And they will put everything which is right in all those, whatever is in social media, whatever is in public domain. Companies put it in a manner to present it, to attract, in a best possible. It's packaging, as I said, it's marketing, right?
Absolutely.
And understanding the culture of a company is not very difficult at all if you have a strategy and approach. For example, if somebody is in a purchase and supply chain, okay, he's a supply chain and manufacturing professional. Now he wants to understand culture of the company. He can really understand who are the vendors for the company and speak to 2-3 vendors. The moment you speak to 2-3 vendors, you will get a lot of insights on culture of the company. You will get, as much as deep insights you want. Integrity, value system, customer centricity, do they compromise on raw materials? It is all about how you think and how you connect with people. And you should ideally speak with some vendors who have started work with them but are not now with them. One is people who are already working with them, and then talking to vendors who are good quality vendors, but they decided not to work with them. Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
Other thing is, you will have people who have left the organization, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you speak to 2-3 people who have left that organization last 6 months, 1 year, and you can speak to people at junior level, you can speak to people at middle management level, you can also speak to people at senior management level. It will not take much time for you to understand the culture, provided you think in that direction, provided you make effort in that direction.
Got it. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. If there is anything else, so I understand, the vendors, the ex-employees, though it's difficult to reach them out, but I understand that, that can be one.
But Baba, your career at stake. See, I think that is where professionals don't do homework, and I feel very sad about it. See, it might take 2-3 days for you to do this, 5 days.
Right.
But it is worthwhile rather than landing in the wrong organization.
Yes, I agree.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
That is what I meant by people are not doing enough when they have to manage their own careers. And your career is 100% for yourself. For the company, you are one of the employees. Even if you move and you are not happy, for them it doesn't matter. For you, individually, it makes a hell lot of difference. No? All the difference it makes for individual.
Career planning doesn't come in our priority list in terms of.
That's a very unfortunate. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's not unfortunate part. And you expect results to come. For any business without a plan and a strategy, results will come.
Yes.
So, Sandeep, there are a few questions that I have in chat. So, first question is from Danish. Okay. So, he wants to ask if he's from a certain industry like building materials and wants to switch to another section like, sector like FMCG. Then, how do you position yourself, or how do you make that switch happen?
Sectoral switch is what we are having. Ideally, while this webinar we are not talking about that, but even if from a planning perspective, one is wanting to have a switch. First and foremost, the individual needs to understand why is he wanting to switch. Because best approach is to build on your knowledge and inventory always you have, whatever you already have. I mean, there for you to maximize your commercial thing is way better than maybe switching to other sector. Unless you feel that sector initially I will maybe have to start at a low, but in long run that sector gives me manifold returns, then that is one reason you can think of switching the sector. The other reason you can also think of switching sector, the sector which I am in, actually the dying sector. So you have to be first clear about why am I switching sector. That is first and foremost. And that in itself requires a lot of deep thinking. Now, assuming you finally decide to switch a sector, then as I said, you have to have a 3 months, 6 months, 1 year plan to land up, for example, in the sector which you don't have experience. You start taking up some assignment informally without any payment, also learn that skill, because if the other sector has to accept you, you have to understand, do I have a skill set where they will welcome me and they'll value me? If I don't have, can I build that? For example, if I would have shift from sales to marketing, then I better, new age requirement is digital marketing, social media marketing. I can actually start interacting informally with 5-6 very solid digital marketing guys and interact with them, understand what is working, what is not working, and also tell them, yeah, if you have any work, give it to me. I'll be happy to do it free of cost for you. So if one has to move and transition from one sector to another sector, one has to understand, is there enough reason why first? And if one has to move, then finally says, yes, I have to go. Then that transitioning to which sector is also important. Which sector, again, while looking at which sector, why is important? Why do I want to work to a specific sector? Once that clarity is there, then you have to see if I have to go to that sector, how can I transition? Organizations will only be open for me if I bring something to the table, right? They have to have a reason to say, yeah, this gentleman you should consider. While he's not from the industry, let me consider him. For example, if somebody is looking for performance marketing and digital marketing head, and the marketing person has worked in a traditional marketing, but has never done performance marketing and digital marketing. Now that gentleman wants to go into head of performance marketing in a digital business. Now that gentleman, which is not an FMCG, but a digital business, then that gentleman better for 6 months, 1 year, starts interacting with the digital marketing guys, social media marketing guys, meets those people, builds network, and also starts doing some projects with 3-4 people. And when he's now aiming for that, he actually prepares a very nice note and a nice profile and a nice CV, because preparing a CV There are so many people who prepare CV in 5-10,000, but they really don't know how to present a CV. Then prepare a nice document around it and then present it. So it will require again a transitioning from one sector to another sector. Definitely possible, provided there's clarity and patience and right thought process. I hope I have answered the question.
Thanks a lot, Sandeep. There's one more question from Abhimanyu
Akshay,
Siddha.
can we encourage people while they have put it on chat box? Can we encourage the individuals to ask those questions also? That will be good.
Surely. Abhimanyu, I think you've added a few questions. It would be great if you can ask them.
Sure. Hi. My first question is, what are some common mistakes senior professionals make during job transitions, and how can I avoid them?
People don't have plan, and then they take great decisions. That's the biggest mistake. People take. See, I'll tell you, when people are working at middle management and senior management, what I've seen is, and unfortunately, these executive search companies work in a very, very transactional way. And when they approach people, organizations, 60-70% of the roles in organizations happen through known people and referral. For whatever reason, different ways of reference, the networking. See, in each week we'll be having these sessions on Friday evening nowadays, on different aspects of career plan. Now, while we will be telling you generalistic thing, but again, it has to be customized to an individual. We will be telling you general principles, but it has to be customized to an individual. So now coming back, 60-70% of the roles at leadership level, especially CEO, MD level, I would say even 80% of the roles happen through only referrals. In good organizations, when I say referrals, in good organizations, because they would know good people, and they would like to have a person whom they know. First, they'll give a preference from internal person only. All good organizations will like to have a leadership level person only from internal. Now, if there are some organizations who are looking at a leader, you have to understand that they are not the best organization. That is the first thing. Now, when they are not the best, and when they are looking from outside, then understanding the cultural fitment is very, very important. Now, for you to understand the cultural fitment, you have to understand yourself first and have a plan. So people, I have seen across all steps of getting into a job and planning a career, I see many areas of improvement for individuals. So people best of the people make basic mistakes. Like they will not assess the culture of the company. They will not talk to the people. As I said, cultural fitment, you might have a job, you might have a package, but if you're not culturally fit in the organization, what is it use of? After joining 6 months, you are disengaged. Company also feels this guy is disengaged. You're not happy because you feel I can't change job in 2 years, but I have to be there for 2 years, and then you're again on outside. Because because of your financial pressures, you can't leave a job, but you're not enjoying, you're not adding value. And then when you're again finding a job, you're again not getting into the depth and finding a job. So, at every step, I see people making mistakes. So really pinpoint, because every step is important. Every aspect of career is important. Having a clarity in mind, having clarity in what you want to do can minimize mistakes. And at every step, following the right process, we can minimize mistakes. Yeah.
Hi, Sandeep. This is Kapil.
Yeah, hi, Kapil.
So I was a business unit head, and then I decided to make a shift when I got an opportunity with one of the reputed firms. In fact, globally, one of the reputed firms. But in a business which was not very known, but it's still almost $500 million business.
Right.
I worked there for 8 months, and then I said, let me call it a quit, because it was an organization which was following the traditional processes from 80s rather.
Right.
So I decided to call it quits, and it's been 6 months now for me, and that I'm trying to look out for an opportunity, or to get to a good place, and that was the particular aim when I even made the shift.
Right.
But it was a mistake, and as you said, people don't leave, so I become an exception, and I left. And for 6 months, I've been trying to get to somewhere, and at senior level, Just give me a second. Someone calling. Sorry. At
Yeah.
a senior, it's just really difficult to get understand what exactly you need to do. So I had been a business unit head, so I have looked into sales, marketing, I worked into cross-functional teams, worked into strategy.
Yeah.
It was all into a particular sector. According to me, if you ask me, as a BU head, you need to take work with all the functions. You understand everything.
Mm-hmm.
According to me, again, that's my perspective. That it is not imperative for me to get into the same industry per se. But when you get out into the market, what you understand that people are looking for a guy who has done the same thing.
Right.
Let's say a person who is into sale, a B2B sales, a pure sales guy.
Right.
Let's say in a machine auto parts. If he wants to get into, let's say, something similar.
So Kapil, if I may, I request you to stop. I have understood your question. What you're saying is, and let me reframe it in a crisp way. You're saying you made a move, that move was not right. You have left because you decided that this is not the place. Now you're trying to get into a good role, but industry is stereotype, and they are looking at it in a stereotype way, right?
Yes. So what should you be doing as an individual?
Yeah. So let me answer this. See, all professionals, as I said, 60, 70, 80% roles go through referrals in good organizations. Ideally, when organizations looking at a CEO business head outside, that is not the best organization. That people have to understand. But even if they are not best, they are second best. Can I get into the second best organization? Is what we should do. Now, when organizations are looking at people like middle management, senior management outside, how do they go about it? First, they'll exhaust all the internal resources because all the companies have cost pressures. They would like to reduce their cost, and good number of organizations are now having internal recruitment teams. The reason why they have internal recruitment teams because they have to pay money to the external executive search firm, right? Now, capability of those recruitment teams is one. Second, the way executive search firms approach is another bigger thing, and understanding of how executive search firms operate. We have a session which is recorded and will be on YouTube. Please go and see that. I would urge all of you to see that. So executive search companies are the way they operate is they have a mandate from the company. Company has exhausted all the options. After that, they define, we want this person, this batch, this institute, this categories he has worked, this package, this kind of area, geographies he should have worked, and this kind of company. They go to the extent saying these geographies, these companies, this age group, they define 10-12 parameters. When they define 10-12 parameters, executive search companies' performance is rated based on the kind of profiles they give. If the company has told them they want this, and if they want elephant and somebody is giving horse, that executive search company obviously is cutting a sorry figure for themselves. So companies give them very watertight briefs, and I'm telling you, even at leadership level, I'm telling you, not all companies give job descriptions also.
No, I know.
Yeah. So now you can imagine that the complication. You don't have clarity. You don't have. So one is the executive search company, the HR team, and the management. You are actually navigating in this entire maze. Now, when the company is giving that brief, executive search companies will always go by stereotype. Now, the search professional is having his mandate. They are in a day they will get at least 15-20 calls wherein people who have lost jobs but are desperate to get a job. Now, if I am an executive search professional, I am working on 3 mandates. I will maximize my efficiency and time. If there are 20 calls which are going to take away my time, I will not. And if they are fitting to my roles which I am working and client brief, I'll make all the attempt to connect with that guy. I'll call that guy 10 times, 100 times. But if the individual is not meeting my requirement, I'll not reply to his mail. I'll not even admit that he exists. 99.9% search professionals work in this fashion. Whether it is MNC, whether it is large, small, let me tell you that. Because for him, he has to meet the client requirement, he has to achieve his target, and he has to get his promotion, he has to get his incentives. He is very focused. In your team, you have a sales guy who's doing that, you appreciate that, right? You feel he's the best guy because he's 100% focused. Now, similarly, the executive search guy is focused on his own agenda. Now, when you are looking, so industry you will always get a feeling that industry is going to be stereotyped. Now, coming back that I'm not in a job 6 months, I want to, somebody, for example, if you are being a business head, Kapil, obviously you have capability. You are a good guy, solid guy. But then I have to have a plan and a strategy to, if I, for example, you want to look at other sectors also, and as somebody who has lost a job would like to see if we can expand the horizon by looking at more organizations. And let me tell you, place where you have experience, while that is a target sector, but in that target sector, maybe you don't have best organizations. So in that sector, then I'll say that I'll only look at, I might be 100 organizations, but 98 other are not, which I like. So I'll only target 2 organizations in that sector. But this sector, I don't have expertise, but there can be another 4 organizations which I can target. So strategically, one will have to think, one will have to have patience. Like 6 months is a long time. Had you done proper planning right from day one, I mean, you would have instead of meeting and writing to 100 people, I'm saying write to 3 people, 4 people, at best 10 people, and invest your time and convert into a job. Because ultimately you need one good organization, one good job.
So Sandeep, the only problem which I face or in this current
I
world.
feel for shortage of time, can I encourage other people to ask some questions? Maybe we can take it offline.
Sure.
Yeah, actually, you can encourage other people if there are any questions we have to take.
Sandeep, Danay this side again.
Yeah, Danesh, go ahead, please.
Yeah, actually, as you mentioned that the company was giving some requirements to the executive firms and job search firms, and they are posting some Naukri and LinkedIn. In my experience, I'm saying that some of the posts being from the executive firms, even though my skill sets are being matched, but applications are not being viewed also by the executives of the firms. How it's been occurred, because I don't know, I understand, because even Naukri, they have mentioned, for example, I'm thinking of Naukri portal, they mentioned some skill set. Even water skill set which they posted, their skills all matched to me, and with experience, everything they matched. In spite of that, the executive firms are not even seeing my profile also. How this happens?
Yeah, so it happens quite often, and that is where people feel frustrated, right? So that happens with almost 99.9% professionals. Reason being, see, here's good number of times, let me tell you, Ganesh, good number of times, executive search firms put openings which are actually not existing ones. They are not existing, they are wanting to build their database. Good number of times. Okay, that is one. Second, you feel my skill set matches, but and in when executive search firm is putting a requirement on LinkedIn, they'll not put some of the things like somebody who has changed jobs frequently is not okay. Somebody in this bracket only. If company has given them a bracket of 10, 12 years experience, they'll put a bracket of 8 to 15 years experience. Now, if you are 8 to 15 years experience, but not 10 to 12, then your application doesn't stand. They will first try and pick up those applications which exactly match what they want. Now, the search organization has put 8 to 15 because they know initially I'll be present 10 to 12 years experience, but if companies are not liking profiles from that, then I have a wider pool which I can present to them. But that might come in second, third phase. So hence your application is in line. So there are multiple reasons. And another important thing, as I said, the executive search firm is bombarded with CVs. So he is only going to pick up the best and invest time on which are exactly matching. Which is coming close, maybe 80%, 90%, he'll not pick that. And executive search firms approach careers of individuals in a very, very transactional way. I'm telling you, good number of times, some of you must have experienced. Executive search is trying to sell a job to you and you to the client. They are not bothered, good number of times, they are not bothered. While I'm an executive search professional myself, I'm telling you, they are not bothered about whether this role is right for this individual. Whether as I said, cultural fitment is more important. Whether this guy culturally will be able to do it suitably or not. Because the search professional also doesn't know where he can fit a culture. And the individual also doesn't know whether I'll fit in the culture or not. But when you go there, the entire hiring process is almost like dating. You are showing your best side, organization also after first round is showing their best side. Yeah. So I hope you got some insights, Manish.
Yeah, add to that, because just from understanding, there is an Naukri, there are options for the premium paid options where they might assume display will be on the top side. So whether in this case it's like whether you people will be looking on the top profiles like that, or it is not value at all? Just for me
So
understanding.
let me tell you, middle management and senior management people, Naukri is not at all a good place. It's waste of time. Not at all.
Okay.
One should not put on Naukri, especially middle management and senior management. It's waste of time, and it leads to only frustration. You land up, maybe if you're lucky, you might not land up a job, but definitely good number of times is not the right job. So what I think it's extremely important that you take your career in your own hands rather than, and understand the market and understand the different, like executive search firm is one thing which is in between, right? So there are nuances and there are stakeholders in your job hunt, but your career has to be your journey. Then you have to influence rights for the intermediaries and stakeholders for you to land up in a right role and a right organization. You can't leave your career in the hand of other people.
Thank you.
Yeah. Akshay, any more questions we are left with?
No, there are no more in the chat at least.
Okay,
There
so
is any
anybody would like to
question?
ask one last question because it's 11:25. So one or two last questions.
Prasant, one request. Again, I think it would be good for all of us, all the audience here, to understand that what are the future trends that you people see from a hiring perspective, from a leadership hiring perspective. Maybe if not, maybe we can plan for a separate session for that. Because
I'll respond to that. One can have a separate session on that, but general trends, I'll tell you the way technology, all organizations are having cost pressures, right? So technology is reducing your ability to access to people. Whether if you want to access to anybody across the world, you can access. So executive search firms will definitely be in business because at leadership level, people would still not like to hire people applying from Naukri or LinkedIn or wherever, because individuals behave in a certain way and there's a mindset and a herd mentality when it comes to individuals. So executive search firms will be always in business. I don't see any organizations smartly doing some things to do some things in the right way, but very value-based organizations which are very solid and rock solid, they'll use technology to assess better cultural fitment for sure. Because each individual is on social media, digital media, and for a right organization to analyze that cultural fitment, it will be much easier. So they will definitely use technology and AI and other things, but those organizations will be very far and few, very, very far and few, because people who think that long term, number of organizations who think that long term is very, very few and less. But technology will allow people, for individuals, more from individuals, technology will allow, for example, LinkedIn was not there. Now there's a LinkedIn. It allows you to build your own brand, right? It allows you to increase your knowledge, right? Technology has made knowledge very, very democratic. You can log in Harvard Business School and study case studies and acquire knowledge. So if somebody is wanting to transition from one sector to other sector, in that sector, what is happening, trends, if I have to learn something, skills, at zero cost, you can learn. So technology will enable individuals in multiple ways and organizations also in multiple ways, but very small percentage of people will take help of technology in a certain way, and that will be determined by the thought process and ethos of the company and clarity of an individual. Just to answer your question, I hope I've some light. One more last question. You have 2 minutes. Danesh is wanting to ask question. Yeah, Danesh or Pooja. Great. I think if we don't have any questions, I'm assuming there's nobody having any more questions now. So thanks a lot for your time, all of you, on a Saturday morning. We will be conducting this kind of sessions. Idea is to add value to life of people. For me, it's passion, and we truly want to make difference in life of people and add value to life of people.